और थोड़ा सा और you have taken one step. Yeah. ठीक है. Good.
Why don't
we just let's let everybody participate. Yeah.
So often these stakeholders have conflicting interests. Different interests, they have conflicting interests. So whenever they work in conflict with each other.
Why?
So because they have different demands, different needs to fulfill. So their interests would often conflict with each other because.
No, conflicting interest is perfectly fine. But from there, if you switch to demands is something which is not coming very close to this. What we are saying here, collaboration, cooperation, coordination between all these 1, 2, 3 and 4 stakeholders.
So there are some set of resources which they have to work upon. Those set of resources are very limited in nature.
Okay.
So there the nature of interest become very conflicting.
Very good. So you see, all of you have an understanding of this. What is that element which is missing? All of you have that. All of you, not trust. Communication is there. Okay, anybody from that corner?
I was about to say scarce resources which you already.
Okay. You know what? Yeah, please.
I guess the objectives of all these parties are different.
Objectives. Okay. Anybody else from this side?
I believe mutual benefit is missing because they should cooperate, coordinate, collaborate, all of them for mutual benefit of each other.
See, we have covered most of the, let's say, elements which is required to complete this challenge. Most of the elements from the class, from this audience. Okay. You know what happens? Let me just give you a live example. When you go to HR, when you join an HR team in any one of these organizations, whenever you get the opportunity to go and meet the present your organization in labor department, for example. You know the understanding of an act, the application of an act, okay, and the analytical or brief framework of an act is presented by 4 people in 4 different ways. Me as an employer, I have a different kind of understanding about the act. When I talk to my employee, he has a different kind of understanding about the act. When I go to the labor department, I don't know whether they understand this act or not. Okay? And when I go and make it explain to the society, okay, when I explain this to society has a different kind of understanding. Of course, your mutual benefit, lack of communication, what you are saying, conflict of interest, and that's the reason which is missing. There is no common parlance, there is no commonality. It's missing. And that is where we go to the code of law. Code of law is the body which takes a call whether the organization is right, the employer is right, or the employer is right, or the state is right, or the act itself is right. This is where the complexity of this entire thing is. That is where we are saying that collaboration, coordination, and cooperation. There are times when I come across some labor commissioners who don't even, and of course labor commissioners are bureaucrats. These people are not trained in the labor laws. They are bureaucrats in the sense they are IAS officers. All of us, we are aware of them. Indian Administrative Service. They have seen level setup. They have, but their ALCs, DLCs, and commissioners, and whatever you call an enforcement officer, labor officer, even they don't have an understanding of these rights. Now, of course, things are changing slowly, gradually, and that is where these 3 elements are missing. Okay, and that is where the challenge is. Complex and stringent industrial laws. Any law which text you guys have referred to have to develop an understanding on acts. Which book? Huh? One by one. PL Malik. Anybody else? Anybody else from that side? Okay. What is the difference between their act and rules? What is the difference between act and rule? Okay, we'll come to that later. Write this question somewhere. So complex and stringent in industrial law. What are these laws? These laws are basically, we call it historical
Arcade.
Archive.
Arcade.
What is that company?
Arcade. Arcade.
No, I'm not familiar with this word here. Arcade. Ancient. Listen, I don't know. Okay, sorry. So these words, these are basically this is British legacy which we have got, which has been given to us. We have been talking about this. We have been applying it in different situations. I have walked across this country, north, east, west, south. Okay? All across. We'll come to that and we'll see the situations. How does it work? Meeting global standards. These are the laws, these are the acts which have become such a stumbling block for us in the growth of services. Be it IT activities, be it hospitality, be it whatever. Be it whatever falls within the ambit of services. IR and ER is just considered as what? As we are talking about here, let's say it is very difficult, it's a big challenge for us, and all of us as HR professionals must take the responsibility of aligning it, this IR and ER, with overall human resource management and development. Else, this myth will create such a confusion amongst all of you as HR professionals where you will never ever dream of entering into IR and ER. You will always opt to go for strategic HR. You always like to go for performance management, goal setting, okay, ESS, benefit from compensation, performance management, okay, reward and recognition, HR scorecard, analytics, and there is not even a single sub-function of HR which does not have connectivity with its IR and ER. Okay, when you reach to a bigger setup. Last but not least, we deal with the human element of the business, and that's what makes it even more complex. Everywhere or anywhere when we talk about this business in this sector, we are talking about human beings who have the ability, capabilities, and of course by virtue of natural constituencies of human being that we can touch, feel, and realize things. Okay, we can analyze things. We just cannot take it for granted. Just cannot be. And nowadays, the paradigm in which we are surviving, in which we are growing, there are ample opportunities and avenues to be challenged at each and every moment of your time, be it at the professional world or in your family. Go to the next.
So could you please elaborate on the second point?
Which one is that?
Complex strategic industrial.
This is what any text which you guys are talking about, Malik is of course one of the best popular texts in the market. Can I have the water bottle? See, how many of us, including me, as of now, I have not been able to understand each and every aspect of the law the way it is written in a bare act. I have not been able to. How many of you have understood this? How many of you? So you refer several, go to part, simple CGs, so you have read it so complex. Unless and until you read it twice, thrice, 4 times. If I take an examination and if I conduct an hardcore, of course, I foresee that kind of association with this institution, where it will be coming in and will run you through different acts as well, application in practical situations. You'll be amazed. If you refer those acts, you'll be amazed. Imagine you have a fresh mind, a young bud like any one of you sitting out here. If you are not able to understand the act, do you expect those lawyers and these labor officers to be understanding these acts? They are just graduates and they don't have any knowledge about it. Any knowledge. You know the complexity of each one of the acts, starting from EPF Act. How many of you have read? How many of you are familiar? Okay. 2 of you, raise your hands, only 2 of you, and tell me 4 important components of EPF Act. Only 2 hands. Only 2 hands. 4 important components. 1 just only. Second? Whatever comes to your mind. 4 words. I want 4 words. Okay? You can, well, please go ahead.
Calculation of provident.
Okay, first.
That's 4 words.
Good one. इनको भी कुछ देना पड़ेगा. Everyone. Calculation of? Calculation of provident fund. The provident fund over. Smart, pretty smart. I like it. What's her name? Nayan. Okay, good. So she has given us eyes to look at this in a different manner altogether. Very good. Okay, so let's go ahead. 4. What is provident fund? Provident fund is 1. Okay. What is pension? Pension, all of you understand? What is EDLI? EDLI, up the phone. The moment I say EDLI, say ED, imagine, I'm 1000% sure all of you must have been through this act. And it's a simple word, simple thing, which is an integral part of this act. What is that? Provident fund. This is what we are trying to reach. Oh, you have got 4? Yeah, please.
The basic wages.
Okay, very good.
Then the percentage at which provident fund will be
Calculated. Very good. Yeah. Third component.
Components on which it will calculate the basic plus HRA or DA.
So that is third one.
The components.
No. So 2 you have covered. Third one.
Then the time that it will be given at the retirement.
Okay. Timing. 4. Huh?
The industry switch component. It applies only when industry has got a minimum of 10 employees.
See, the idea was of this. See, I just wanted to get something, a hang of it. Somebody asked, how is it so complex? So see the complexity. When I say complex, there is the one with PF, provident fund, pension, ETLI, and administrative charges. Administrative charges, how many of you understand this? How many of you understand this? EDLI, how many of you understand this? 4 important components. You know, it's very, very chaotic, confusing, and it has been put in even in text in a manner wherein times when you're lost.
But so these laws are applicable across all the industries. So how is it a challenge specifically for the service industry?
Oh, this is something which is a serious question. This is what we have been discussing. Just write this question, discuss. And it's there in our agenda. Go to the next now. Yes, no? What is the last slide? Of course. Now you see what we spoke about, the challenge. Cooperation, coordination and collaboration. So what we need to do for that, we have to develop common understanding of legislation and their application. So that there is no lack of mutual benefits, conflicting interest, lack of communication. It is not happening. There were reforms on which, of course, say all these governments, political parties, everywhere, each state, all of us as a student, as a research scholar, as a academician, as a practicing professional, all of us we are trying to work on this. There were reforms. It's not working out. It's not moving in the right direction somehow. Learn from the global best practices. Whenever you Google search, you do any search, provident fund or any accident policies, compensation, this, that, you come across most of these American companies, most of these government bodies where these acts are applicable, their details would be flashed. Just jot down some of them and see how did they work and start looking for some kind of relevance with those cases. How does it work? And what kind of application is there in our country in a given situation? IR&DR now it has to, and of course it has started happening now in the industry. IR, the legal framework of human resource management. ER, the human and developmental framework of human resource management. These two things have started working in very close proximity with all talent engagement processes, let me tell you, and mechanisms. They are more focused towards that because now things are moving away from unionization, and it is away from unionization and moving towards what?
Organization.
Very good. God bless you, man. And that is where we have to hit very hard. And that is where we have to understand how does this work, how does this unionization, how does this, why IRR? You know, there are people across whom we come in because this is in this day-to-day life. ER head. Somebody says IR head. That guy thinks that मुझे तो IR के अलावा कुछ आता ही नहीं. उसको HR बताओ, तो HR को he will understand people's HR. How many of you have heard of this? HR को HR भी बोलते हैं, पता है आपको? First time, huh? Okay, good. So you know, उसको ER head से if you talk to him, he will say, Vijay, I'm not interested in big job evaluation course. It does not matter with me. I'm focused on my IR issue. You know how much time will you take to understand and be groomed as a real ER professional? Let your Mercer, Boston, McKinsey's of the world come in and work on XYZ strategic HR services or whatever, like say, tools they are trying to develop. You know, for our country, the need of the hour is that if you can develop an understanding about overall human capital management and integrate those knowledge with your IR and PR services, you could be one of the best and successful HR professionals in the country. Because we think that we are at a transition stage. You know, so IR and ER must be developed into two rather than just a sub-function of IR. HR. Constructive participation of all stakeholders in amending complex and stringent laws for overall rapid growth of services. What we spoke about, collaboration, cooperation, coordination. All the stakeholders come together, for which we have got bodies in this country. What are the kinds of bodies which we have got? Any one of you? And what is it called? Huh? What is that called? NASCOM. NASCOM. We are for TCS. We work with TCS. Accenture. You are saying NASCOM. Anybody else? Anybody else? Any body which is trying to bring all these stakeholders together to work on the IR or different, let's say, spaces of industry? Any other bodies? Come on guys, fast. It's not very hard. CIA. Very good. Just hold it, just hold it. Anybody else? What is this called? What is this called? What are these bodies called? What are these bodies? Institutions. Come on guys. Tomorrow you may land up watching there. Right? What is this called? I don't know that. I'm not a lawyer, boss. Sorry. And we are not teaching law here. What is this called? Huh? Sakshi, what is this called?
These are called pressure groups.
Have you heard this word ever? No? Never? Never? None of you have heard this word ever. Pressure groups. Right? This word, we'll discuss it. Post your case study analysis. Post your case study analysis. Okay? Sorry. Yes? Forming, and last but not least, forming conjunction of employee engagement initiatives with IR to create a just and employee-friendly industrial society. I thought AXA was trying to bring Mercer, Boston, McKinsey's for some kind of consulting from these organizations to train you guys or conduct some kind of workshops like this on different HR interventions. Huh? You have it with which company? Mercer. Mercer. Who was there from Mercer? And? Okay. Okay, good. Very good. So this is where we close our presentation. Okay. And now, of course, I would appreciate if we can manage to have some cup of tea together.